Today I simulated a massive 16-team fantasy football draft and we'll be bringing it to a do-or-die tournament on Madden. The league setup was basic, PPR scoring, 1 QB, 3 starting wide receivers, a big old bench, and a defense. I can't lie, bro, the teams that went RB heavy, I didn't want them to do that. Some of them went that way. Look at Team 4, is that 6 of their first 7 picks were running back? Yeah, they might be cooked, bro. Team 15 might be my favorite just on first glance. They waited at running back, got Alex Madison, 2 as a solid QB, lots of wide receivers. I might be conflating fantasy strategy with Madden though. Anyway, from there I took the drafted teams and built them in Madden. I let the defense each team pick determine which franchise they'll rep in the tournament. For example, Team 4, who I made fun of just a second ago, chose Cowboys defense, so they'll get Dallas branding, as well their entire defensive unit and special teams core. Additionally, I gave each team the O-line that corresponds with their starting QB. So once again, our Team 4 friends, they chose Jared Goff, meaning they also get the Lions O-line. This is really going to be a great test of how each of these teams can deploy their many skill position players. Does a fantasy mindset equate to Madden success? Let's find out. And here is the main bracket with each of our 16 drafted teams. They're seeded 1 through 16 based on where they drafted. That might be a bit confusing. What I mean is the matchups don't actually matter. 1 versus 16 seed, it's just pick 1 versus pick 16. Actually, you guys probably get that. And we'll start with that top left portion of our bracket with a pair of games. The first 16 picks, which is interesting both at the turn, the front, and the back of the draft. Then 7 versus 10, kind of in the middle there. Team 1 selected Justin Jefferson with the 101 in our draft, along with Chris Godwin, Mike Thomas. They've got a great receiving room. They obviously took Jets defense, but can Daniel Jones and the Giants offensive line get things done? Meanwhile, at the opposite end of the first round, Team 16 went double hero RB with Chubb and Henry in back-to-back picks. I don't think that'll translate to Madden. They've got Justin Fields and the Bears O-line, the Bengals defense, no good receivers. Maybe George Kittle can help. A Justin Jefferson TD would get pick 101 on the board first, but 3 straight passing touchdowns from Justin Fields meant Team 16 opened this thing wide up heading into the 4th. However, pick 1, the Jets in this case, did score a touchdown. They got a stop as well. Now they've got 3 minutes. Danny Dimes, can he go downfield, get this game tied up? That is a really good start. The Bengals defense, man, they were chosen for a reason. I have no idea if they were one of the first defenses chosen. I bet not. Danny Dimes rolling out. He's going to take off smart. That's another first. Travis Etienne just gashed the Bengals. They're down to what, the 4-yard line? I mean, this is a TD, right? Oh my gosh. Chris Godwin wide open. What are you doing, Cincinnati? Horrible defense. Technically, pick 16. The Bengals do have time here. 14 seconds left. A couple big chunk plays from Fields, and no, never mind. Yeah, I'm doubtful. The Bengals, they really have no receivers. They do have George Kittle, though. That's broken up as well. I didn't want to risk this game glitching in OT, so I simmed from this menu instead. Team 16 took control. They won it. Pick 16. I mean, it's not really an upset, but wow, Jefferson and the boys are done. Pick number 16, the Bengals went all running backs at the 1-2 turn, especially Henry had 3 carries. Nick Chubb only ran 3.4 per touch. That's crazy. And you know what? Justin Jefferson balled out. So did Michael Thomas, but somehow they came up short in OT. What a way to start this tournament. Let's see how we can follow up that game. Team 7 obviously has the 49ers defense and a beautifully balanced squad. Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, a stud running back, and a really strong receiver core. While Team 10, ironically repping the Ravens defense, has Justin Herbert under center with the Chargers O-line and a really stacked wide receiver room. Diggs, Waddle, Judy. Yep, they don't have many running backs, but through the air, they're fire. Okay, what has happened is another potential clutch finish. The super balanced 49ers, the team I loved, is up, but the Ravens, pick 10 has a chance still. Pick number 10, the Ravens' biggest weakness was a lack of really elite running backs, but that in this case shouldn't matter. They've got all these receivers. Waddle, Diggs, Herbert can throw it a mile, and he's got a man wide open. I don't know, dude. San Francisco defense, maybe that was the fantasy pick of the year for this turn. Oh, that's game. That's game right there. A check down to James Cook with no timeouts remaining, and that was all she wrote for pick 10. Saquon was great for the 49ers. I knew that strategy was smart. 89 yards, 1 TD on the ground, and that means our first bit of progress made on our bracket. Pick 16 taking down pick 1. I'm still a little bit surprised by that. Pick 7 was a great team, though. They're a force to be reckoned with. And we'll move down to the bottom left region. Pick 5 versus 12, 4 versus 13. Let's take a look. At pick number 5, Team 5 took Tyreek Hill. They've got a nice receiver room, but their running backs lack a true Madden 24 stud. The Eagles defense should be dominant, but I don't think Bryce Young is going to be good enough for them. And he'll definitely pale in comparison to Patrick Mahomes Mahomes, who Team 12 took with their first round pick. They also nabbed Jonathan Taylor, risky in fantasy, good in Madden. They don't have very many great receivers, Team 12, but TJ Hawkinson is solid and the Saints defense. 99 overall Patrick Mahomes would throw for 2 touchdowns in this game for pick 12, but the true story of the game was the Saints defense, who absolutely clamped Bryce Young and pick number 5. This game was never really in question. Man, I didn't expect to see a true defensive battle in any of these games, but there you go. Saints defense is tough. I think we're gonna have another defensive struggle. It's Team 4, the team I roasted in the intro for picking all them running backs. A horrible Madden strategy. Maybe the Cowboys defense, Jared Goff, and the Lions O-line can help them out. But on the other side, Team 13 is another nice balanced squad. They've got the Patriots defense. They've got AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dameon Pierce, their lead running back, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jags O-line. That's solid. And unfortunately, when I'm right, I'm right. It wasn't a blowout, to their credit, that high testosterone running back heavy team. Low-key for the content, it would have been hilarious if that team was able to march through this tournament, but Trevor Lawrence was too good. On the ground, Austin Eckler got 122. Okay, he ran for 94 yards on 1 carry. Other than that, Alvin Kamara got 1 touch. You could have used a bit more of your depth there, Cowboys. And from that region of our bracket, we get a couple later first round picks doing work. I like it. Pat Mahomes obviously helps Team 12. And now we've been introduced to our now 4 teams remaining on the left side of the bracket. Let's get to the right, though. I can't remember now who went number 2 in the draft. We'll figure that out in a second. 8 versus 9. A couple teams that were sniping each other in the draft at every turn. But first, we've got Team 2, who took Christian McCaffrey 2nd overall. They invested in early running backs, which is tough, but DK Metcalf is a legit number 1 receiver. Aaron Rodgers is still very good in Madden, and the Broncos defense should make some plays. While at the other end of the first round, Team 15, yes, I mentioned them in the intro. I love all their wide receiver talent. That should really help them. Tua is under center. They've got the Packers defense. Okay, their running back room isn't great in Madden. I was really unsure of what to think about this matchup when I looked at the rosters, and it ended up being a wild defensive battle. Packers defense, Broncos defense, just 3 touchdowns in total scored. Man, what an ugly game once again. Pick number 2 surviving. Barely. They scored 17 points and won. Christian McCaffrey, 16 for 93. No touchdowns, but proved his worth there as the 2nd overall pick. At least he's still in here, Justin Jefferson. And with that, we move to the 8 versus 9 matchup. Team 8 went in on Travis Kelce, a bold fantasy strategy. They've also got Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Joe Mixon, a lot of weapons around Deshaun Watson with the Seahawks defense. But ladies and gentlemen, I love Team 9, both in fantasy and on Madden. Look at their big 3 of receivers: Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans. They somehow have Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offensive line. They've got Miles Sanders, Jamal Williams, the Dolphins defense. They've got everything. And once again, looks like I know a little bit what I'm talking about. No blowouts in this video yet. It's always a little bit scary. But the pick number 9 Dolphins do hold on for a touchdown win. Jalen Hurts thoroughly outplaying Deshaun Watson, like I thought. And their big 3 receivers, well, Deebo didn't do much. Their big 2, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, both with massive fantasy weeks. I love it. McCaffrey and his boys off to the Elite 8, just like our loaded Dolphins number 9 pick team. As we'll be introduced to our final region on the bracket, 6 versus 11, 3 versus 14. Should be some good diverse rosters. Beginning with team number 6, who unfortunately took Bijan Robinson at the 106. He's a great fantasy pick, but only an 81 overall in Madden. They do have a million receivers. They've got Derek Carr. Maybe they can make some noise. However, I think they're going to be in tough against Team 11, aka Team Dallas Cowboys. They've got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott throwing them the ball, Tony Pollard in the backfield. What in the world? Oh my word. I thought pick 11 going all Cowboys and Cowboys adjacent players was a stroke of genius at the draft, but they might be in some trouble. That's a big play though. Both teams have 3 timeouts, which is interesting. I mean, if the Commanders are going to let him score, might as well let it be quickly. Dak going for right on cue. It's like I saw the future. Dak to Amari Cooper, just like the good old days, and we've got a tie game, folks. The way these simulations often work, though, is, well, it's hard to get stops for these teams, so leaving almost a full 2 minutes on the clock for pick 6. Yeah, I will say I was pretty down on this pick 6 Commanders roster, but they have ballots. That's a oh my word. scored. What a huge play by the Chiefs defense for pick 11. Yo, I definitely didn't realize it in the moment, but for team 6, it was Bijan Robinson who fumbled the ball. Literally, he was their first round pick. That's tough. Okay, once again, something dumb happened while I was recording this video. I thought those pick 11 Chiefs were gonna cruise, hit a game-winning field goal, which they should have done, but as you can see here, they ended up winning by 6 points. Yeah, this game somehow went into OT when I skipped through, so I have no idea, but all that matters is the pick 11 Chiefs won the game, which is what they would have done if they would have just kicked a field goal. I don't know, dude. Dak had a monster game, 424 and 4 through the air, well outplaying Derek Carr. Bijan was actually good for the pick number 6 Commanders, 99 yards of TD, but the game-losing fumble. The second last team we have to be introduced to, fire for fantasy and Madden. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, the Bengals stack. They've got Mark Andrews, and Dalvin Cook is a great draft pick. He's a 90 overall in Madden still. Along with team number 9, that team 3 is my favorite roster in this video. Team 14 isn't bad. They've got Josh Jacobs as well, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, some good receivers all around Josh Allen with the Steelers defense, but man, team 3 is just so good. This would be an upset to see team 14 win. I had high hopes for this game after seeing both rosters, but very quickly it became the Joe Burrow show. He sprayed the ball around the yard, 3 touchdown passes. It was never in doubt. Okay, well that is a heavyweight team falling, an even more heavyweight team advancing apparently. Tough outing for Josh Allen, 200, no TDs and a loss. It was just balanced for these pick 3 Bills. Jamar Chase did nothing. He's their first round pick. Wow, they've got a ceiling they have yet to reach. And of course, no matter what the format, it's not even real teams. It had to be Chiefs Bills. Let's go. Our full bracket is off to the Elite 8. Just 8 fantasy teams remaining. We're going to start on the left side of the bracket though. 16 verse 7, 12 verse 13. Oh yeah, the pick 7 49ers. I love their roster. Saquon, Lamar, T. Higgins. A lot of balance against no balance from the 16 pick Bengals. Chubb, Henry, all running backs. In Madden, the double hero RB strategy looked so foolish to me, but both dudes came through with touchdown runs in this game. The balance of the 49ers simply couldn't keep up. I am in shock, dude. The 49ers were so good on paper. So much balance, though. I love the 49ers build, specifically how it translated to Madden. I mean, Lamar was cool. Saquon did his thing. He got in the end zone, but look at Chubb and Henry. Both ran for 4 yards a carry. I mean, it wasn't impressive like in an extreme sense, but they did the job, and they're moving on with a 24-14 win. Okay. That brings us to a matchup between the pick 12 Saints led by Pat Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor against the pick 13 Pats led by AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Trevor Lawrence. Interesting. Oh my word. I mentioned earlier, I don't love the weapons on pick number 12, the Saints, around Patrick Mahomes, but look at that score, brother. Apparently, whatever they're tossing out there around 99 overall Pat Mahomes plus the Saints defense, well, it's plenty because this is a blow. 41-10 the final for the pick 12 Saints led by 245 and 3 from Pat Mahomes. This is literally like the Chiefs, just balanced receiving efforts. TJ Hawkinson got in the end zone. And in reverse order of what we just saw, Mahomes and the 12 pick Saints advance, win their region. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and the rumbling 16 pick Bengals advance. Both those teams will match up in a pretty awesome clash of play styles in the final 4 on our left side, but on the right side, we're going to start with the number 2 pick Broncos led by the 2nd overall pick Christian McCaffrey against the number 9 pick Dolphins, Jalen Hurts plus a big 3 of wide receivers. I love that team. No way, we're jumping right into it. Under a minute left. Pick number 2 led by the Broncos defense, who is doing the leading. They are up by a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, the pick number 9 Dolphins. What? He throws it out of bounds. Hurts has so many amazing weapons here. Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp. I don't think they have a great running back. It shouldn't matter though, dude. You can march downfield. Jalen, run it. Pick number 2 may as well have made this Broncos defense their 2nd pick of the draft. McCaffrey, then Broncos D. I think that's all they're needing. Hurts miss. 4th and 10. By the way, Miami is out of timeouts, so that's why Jalen's looking to the sidelines, and that's going to be game. Frank Clark coming through with a game-winning sack for the Broncos defense. To his credit, old man Aaron Rodgers did seemingly outplay Jalen Hurts, threw for 2 touchdowns. Both those TDs, by the way, went to Christian McCaffrey, the 2nd overall pick in our fantasy draft, so good on you, CMC, showing out when your team needs it the most. But I think this game was all about the Broncos defense. Mike Evans had a solid game, but Cooper Kupp was not good. Debo literally did nothing, not a single catch. Wow.
That's garbage.
I'm high-key shocked at the result of that last game, but we're moving on. The number 3 pick Bills, led by their Bengals stack, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, against the 11 pick Chiefs, led by their Cowboys stack of literally everyone. In our dueling battle of super stacked teams, it was the 3 pick Bills who got off to a great start, a pair of Dalvin Cook touchdown runs. Tony Pollard would eventually find the end zone for the 11 pick Chiefs, but you knew Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase would eventually grab control of this game, and they never looked back. The number 3 pick Bills, led by that Bengals super stack, held on. A 10-point final. It was a pretty good QB battle, but Joe Burrow did get the upper hand. And there goes the impressive Cowboys stack on the 11 pick Chiefs. Cooper, Pollard were awesome, but CD didn't pull his weight. And in this very specific circumstance, it's the Bills getting the upper hand, winning the region over the Chiefs. While up top, the Christian McCaffrey led 2 pick Broncos. Okay. And just like that, we do have our final 4 set. Interestingly, we have 2 early picks on the right side of the bracket, 2 later picks on the left side. Just all sorts of opposing views here. I love it. Actually kind of shows that draft order, where you're picking in a fantasy draft, might not matter. Look at that. Our final 4 will start with the 16 pick Bengals defense led squad. Justin Fields is their QB. Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry in the backfield. They've got such a weak wide receiver room, I can't lie. But maybe George Kittle can come up with a huge play or two. And altogether, they're taking on the 12 pick Saints defense led team. Patrick Mahomes under center. He's been the difference maker so far. They've got a great running back too. Jonathan Taylor hasn't done anything extreme, but an 89 overall. Kind of an equivalent wide receiver room for both these two teams, but obviously these dudes are elevated by Mahomes. And TJ Hawkinson is solid at a 90 overall. This matchup is essentially 99 overall Mahomes versus 2 high 90 overall running backs. Which strategy wins out? Once again, I was clearly sleeping on the double hero RB strategy. This game was back and forth like you wouldn't believe. No team could grab the upper hand. Both teams had star players giving star performances. And here we are, the pick 12 Saints. Patrick Mahomes have the ball, tie game, all 3 timeouts. What is What am I seeing, Madden 24? Ain't no way. Is Madden glitching, or are the Saints playing for OT with Patrick Mahomes under center? I've done seen it all, bro. I don't know if that was intentional or not. There's really no way of telling. Here's the they are playing for OT. I can't believe it with Patrick Mahomes. Okay, because it's the final 4 and I don't want to miss out on something epic, I'm going to risk that this game might glitch. We're going to watch OT and we're going to see what happens. All right, so we'll see if OT works here. Saints get ball first. Yeah, sure. Now you're letting Mahomes throw the ball. I just can't believe it, dude. They had 40 seconds, all 3 timeouts, even after Mahomes took that sack. What a weird decision. Very quickly, though, the 16 pick Bengals have Pat Mahomes and the boys up against it. 3rd and 8. Mahomes scrambling around. Oh, I thought he was going to take another sack. Does he get that? He doesn't get there. I guess the lack of wide receiving weapons might be coming back to haunt these 12-seeded, 12-pick Saints. Nobody's getting open for Mahomes, and now they need the defensive crew to come through. The pick 16 Bengals also have a lack of wide receiver talent. Justin Fields has been slinging it all game, though. Wait a minute. What? Saints defense, where are you? No way. Who was that? George Kittle. I called it. He could make a big play to determine this game, and he just did. And look at that. Madden doesn't glitch. I figured out the way to do... Yo, we can watch OTs. That is amazing. What a clutch moment. I'm glad I didn't miss that. A massive game, both fantasy-wise, if you had any of these players you know, and in our tournament as the pick 16 Bengals survived. Justin Fields outplayed Pat Mahomes. What in the world? And despite not having many wide receiver weapons, Nick Chubb caught a long touchdown pass. That was huge. George Kittle, 2 catches, but one of which was all they needed. I'm not sure how we can follow that game up, an intense epic OT winner, but we got another final 4 matchup. Let's go. Our battle of 2 early draft picks, number 2 overall, led by the Broncos defense, Aaron Rodgers under center. They invested early and often at running back as well. Obviously Christian McCaffrey off rip, then Aaron Jones, Zeke, DeAndre Swift, who we probably won't see, but they do have their alpha receiver leading the way, DK Metcalf, and a solid tight end, Dallas Goedert. They've made it this far. I can see them taking this game, but I simply love pick number 3, led by the Bills Bills defense as well by Joe Burrow, Dalvin Cook, a super valuable pick because of his Madden rating, and of course, Jamar Chase leading the wide receiver room. I love a good stack, brother. Oh yeah, and they have Mark Andrews, the second best tight end in the NFL. What in the world? Well, no epic finish, no OT, nothing like that. The Bengals stack on the 3-pick Bills is just too dominant, brother. Joe Burrow severely outplaying Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but 2 TDs to 1 out-yardaged him as well. Oh yeah, this is all the difference in the world. The pick 3 Bills got Dalvin Cook late in the fantasy draft. He went for over 100, while Christian McCaffrey just fumbled the bag. Oh my word. I didn't even check the stats before when I called this team overpowered. Jamar Chase, 14 for 156 and 1. That would be, 35.6 PPR fantasy points from Jamar Chase. I don't know if that's the highest total we've seen today, but what a performance. We've got both ends of the spectrum, the 103 versus the 116, the front and back end of the draft. We've got an insane Bengals stack on one side, but with the Bills defense, while on the other side, we've got a team heavily invested in star running backs that they aren't really giving the ball to. Unpredictability, one of the many reasons I love making these videos. I think the pick 3 Bills got this game. They've been unstoppable, but who knows? In the final game of the video, you knew I wanted an amazing tight battle, and to the 16-pick Bengals credit, Nick Chubb did get things going with an early touchdown run, but from there, it was literally all Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the 3rd pick Bills. Burrow was slinging it everywhere, finishing with over 400 yards, 5 TDs. 4 different players caught touchdowns from Burrow in what would end up being an absolute blowout. No clutch, no epic finish here, unfortunately. Well, you can't get everything you wish for. We had an epic OT finish clutch game in our final 4. But here in our ultimate championship matchup of the video, it is a blowout. The pick 3 Bills were just too dominant this entire video. Joey B, like I mentioned, 414 yards, 5 touchdowns, a flawless game. On the ground, picking up Dalvin Cook late, I mentioned many times, was all they needed to do. He ran for 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, man, 7 for 140 and a TD. Mark Andrews finally came alive, 5 receptions, but 2 of them for touchdowns. And in what should have been the best game of the video, a 49-20 final in our championship matchup. A truly flawless victory for team number 3, led by Buffalo's defense. Shout out to Bills fans, and a Cincinnati stack for the ages. Shout out to Bengals fans. I'm not sure if they'd be the best fantasy team on paper. They did look pretty good, but translating to Madden 24, it was money. Let me know what you thought of the results of this video. If you enjoyed it as a whole, be sure to check out another one from my channel too.